everyone, and welcome back to Art Journal Sunday Prompt. I didn't put a video up last week. I wasn't feeling well, so today I'm feeling much better, so I am putting up a video. So I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. I don't know why it just popped into my head, but the topic that I'm going to use today, I was just lying there kind of, you know how you daydream, and it just popped right into my head. I love when that happens because it's just so simple and you're like, yeah, why did I think about that before? So before I get chatting, I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for my background. This is another one of those paper towels that were used for, actually my grandsons were doing something, and this paper towel was just, I told them to just blot whatever they were doing because Nana's going to use their paper towels in my artwork. So I am going to do that. So I think I'm going to turn the book around so you guys can see what I'm doing. Look at how yummy the book's getting, hey, with all these art journal prompts. Can't wait till it gets all full, but I am really taking joy in the process. So I'm going to cover the page with Mod Podge, and I want to show you guys this thing. I don't know what they're called. What does it say here? It's like a paintbrush, but it's rubber. You see that? I got this in California at Dick Blick's art supply store, but I think you can get them at any art store. They're actually called something, but I have no idea. So if anyone knows the name of these, let me know. But they're great for putting on Mod Podge and things like that because you don't wreck your paint brushes, and they work so nice and smoothly. So yeah, I love this. So I'm just slapping on my Mod Podge. So anyway, I was lying in bed thinking, and I was thinking, you know, people need to know when to stop. They really do. They need to know when to stop. Like in my instance, I need to know when to slow her down and don't overdo, because my biggest problem usually is I'm feeling really good, so I try and do everything on the days that I'm feeling really, really good, which is not necessarily the best thing because then you have a setback. So knowing when to stop, kind of knowing. I'm just using this foam brayer, but I think I'll use a real, more firmer brayer right here. This guy, just to brayer this all down. I feel like I'm crunching up all the stuff from the other pages, but I am not. You know, knowing when to stop. Sometimes you can be at a function where there's a group of people and, you know, people are talking, and you might notice sometimes that people, they just don't know when to stop. Like they've said what they had to say, and that's it, and let her go, and you don't need to go on. The person got the point, or the group got the point. They don't know when to stop. It's like, it's just the funniest thing, because we think, because we have, and I catch myself in that often, like, not often, but I have caught myself in that when somebody's talking about birth or doula stuff, you know, and now that I've gotten older and wiser, and I'm a more wiser doula, I know in my head that, you know what, you've said what you have to say, and that's it. You're not going to change this person's mind or give them at least time, food for thought. Don't think that just because you think you have all the answers on whatever subject, for me, birth, that you can keep blabbing your mouth off, you know? It just happens so often in life, and I think in our stopping, in that silence of knowing when to stop, we learn a lot too, and we hear so much, you know, instead of doing or being busy or flitting around, or me work until I'm in so much pain. In the silence of actually having a good day but not feeling like I have to do something, you know, that is a really foreign feeling for me. Having a good day and doing nothing. It's the most difficult thing for me to wrap my head around. Like, I'm having a good day, so I should be cleaning up or I have to learn. I have to know when it's time to stop, and just because not stop because I'm in pain, stop before I'm in pain. And that can even be metaphorically too. Stop kind of before you put your foot in your mouth, you know? I used to have this friend. She doesn't live here anymore. She's a very dear friend, but she doesn't live. She used to be a neighbor, and then we became very, very close friends. And at one point, she got quite ill. I don't know what was wrong with her. It was like some kind of weird flu bug or something. And she had this acquaintance. I'm not going to call her a friend. She was an acquaintance. One of those people that literally kills you with kindness. She would be in, like, so much in people's business that it was like ridiculous. I mean, she meant, like, you couldn't criticize her, because I mean, she would do all these wonderful things and bring supper and look after the kids, but sometimes you were thinking that she was doing this just so she could be the one that knew everything. Do you know what I mean? Some people are that way. They have to be the one, well, I know what's wrong with her, and she has this, like, they have to be on the pulse of what's happening with this person. Well, you know, when I saw her and I took supper over there and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, and I just used to think, she needs to know when to back away. It's kind of like that song by Kenny Rogers, know when to walk away, know when to run. Because she sure didn't. And it's like sometimes when you don't stop, even with your well-meaningness, you cross over boundaries that you shouldn't be crossing over. And that doesn't mean not to help people when they're having a rough time, but you cannot fix it. You cannot solve it. You just do what you can do, and then you back away. Like, know when to stop. Know, and for people out there that are mothers of adult children, this really, really applies to you and to me. Like, you were always giving them advice, always telling them what to do, always telling them, well, you know, if you tried this or if you tried that. Perfect example was my daughter and my little grandson, who was having a rough time with school, getting settled in school, and a very, very not settled. You know, he just wasn't settled. I knew from working in education, he just wasn't ready. You know, he just wasn't ready to go. But I had to bite my tongue, because I had to let them see that for themselves. And they did, and they figured it out, because sometimes you don't, it's kind of like, oh, my mom was right again. Know when to stop. If you want to have a little bit more, not leeway, but more, you want to be more accepted in their lives, you have to let them go and let them be the adults that you taught them to be. They're going to make mistakes with their kids, just like we did, but you got to know when to stop. You truly, truly do. So I'm going to let this dry. It actually looks kind of pretty. I love these background pages because you really don't do anything, and they turned out looking really gorgeous. So I'm just going to let this dry, and I'll be back. So I dried it with my heat gun, and then I also put a coat of Mod Podge on top and dried that as well. And look how easy this brushy thing, wish I knew the name of it, cleans up. I mean, seriously, look at that. Clean. No, it's so much easier than cleaning a brush. I'm just using a baby wipe, and it is completely clean. Isn't that cool? So if you can pick one of those up, I think that's going to be a tool that's going to come in super, super handy for anybody art journaling. So what I'm going to do, I want to put a frame around this, and I think I'm going to use this black polka dotted washi tape. So I want to make sure I trim right to the edge to get all the excess of this paper towel off, and then I'm going to glue down or stick down my washi tape. So I'm just going ahead and finishing gluing down the washi tape. Not gluing down, but putting it down. For people that have chronic illness, like myself, knowing when to stop talking about your illness, and it is hard. And I'm sure some of you think, Lord, all she ever does is talk about her pain. Especially when you're in the pain, it's hard because it's all-consuming. It is really, really, really hard. But try, if you can, to talk about something else. Like yesterday, I went to a beautiful wedding of my girlfriend. She had been with her partner for over 30 years. He has been asking her to marry her almost since they met, and she had been married before and didn't want to get married again, and she just didn't want to. She just thought, no, what's the point? I've got my children, you know, one of those. So he asked her to marry her 17 years ago, and they finally got married yesterday, and it was beautiful, and it was so nice. On the way there, I was just hoping and praying I'd be able to make it to the wedding because I was in so much pain. But you know what? The endorphins of watching them get married, I totally forgot about it. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't the prime focus. It was so nice to sit and talk to people that I hadn't seen in a while and just visit and not have to talk about your pain, even though it's there. Do you know what I mean? So again, that's another know when to stop time. And I know I blab to you guys about my pain a lot, especially in my vlogs, but you guys are like my buddies, you know? I have to talk to somebody. So that goes totally against what I'm talking about, knowing when to stop. But you do. You have to know when to stop. So I'm just putting down here these, I think they're making Memories Are Basic Gray chipboard dark letters, alphas, and I used them in a card the other day, and you know, it just made me think, why am I not using this stuff? So it was still out on my desk, and I love them. They're just so grounding and dark. So I'm going to put know when to stop on this page on top of my tissue. Whoops, try and get it straight. Oh well, really glue, and they really stick after all this time. I just had them hanging on the wall when I looked at them, and yeah. So I picked up this little birdie a while back at Michael's, and I am just going to paint this bird with black gesso because I want to use it on my page. I'm going to try this brush and see if it works for painting as well. Oh, I think that's pretty cool. I don't use black gesso that much, but I have. It's so rich and dark, eh? So I'm just going to use it here on my craft mat and see. Oh yeah, you can. You can even paint with this brush. Very coolio, people. You need to go pick one of these up. So I'm doing a quick voiceover because I lost the audio on this section. But I decided to do my journaling on a piece of just typewriter paper and actually typed it out. And then I grunged it around and inked it with Stampin' Up! Craft Black ink. So I'm just adhering it on my page with a glue stick. And then I had some little tiny butterflies left over from a card, actually the wedding card I did. And I just touched them up with some of that black ink as well. And I'm just gluing them down with glue gun ink, with glue gun glue, and I am adhering them just kind of over the top of the page. Finally, to finish the page off, I took my little black gesso painted birdie and I just glued it at the bottom. And I don't know if you'll notice that I curled up both corners of the page for my journaling. So here is my finished page. Know when to stop. And my journaling set says, just like the Kenny Rogers song says, know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. We have to know when to stop working too hard, talking too much, giving too much advice, pushing ourselves on ourselves and on others. We need to know when to stop before the pain starts and just know how to be in our stillness. So that was a really important message for me and perhaps for someone else. And then just as life would have it, I got an email in kind of, not a junk email, but it's this Soul e-magazine, this magazine that comes online for women, and I often get posts about it. And she sends little quotes and affirmations all the time. And this one, it came yesterday and it spoke right to what I'm talking about. So what I want you guys to go and do is to get a candle. I will give us a moment to go get a candle and something to light it with. And then just sit with me while we do this. And we stop just for one moment. So some of you know that I usually have a candle lit, especially when I'm creating a card for somebody or if I'm doing an art journal page, because I always light it with the intention, if I'm creating something for someone else, I have them on my mind, and my intention is that, you know, I'm sending them well wishes while I'm creating the card. So this kind of speaks to kind of that. So simply light your candle and focus on the burning flame while I read this beautiful affirmation. Light the candle, focus on the flame, and let's just be for a minute, shall we? Release your racing thoughts and open your heart to the amazing richness that has been inside you in the stillness all along. You do not have to do 10 things at the same time right now. You do not have to beat yourself up for, well, anything really. You are allowed to slow down, disengage from all the drama in your life, and set an intention to remain present, even just for a few moments. When you embrace the warmth and the beauty of the candlelight in the present moment, you can begin to allow calm reflection to rise to the surface. You'll find that in this quiet space, you are less reactive, have less fear and anxiety, and you may even get a beautiful glimpse of layers of compassion, patience, and tolerance. It's as easy as lighting a candle. Just know when to stop. So big love to all of you, and take care of yourself, and we'll see you next week. Bye.